Welcome. It's another Thursday night. Myself, Geeky Guy Comics is back. I've got my original name back. Instagram. I've finally done something after a year of losing my original account. I've lost the underscore at the end of it. Geeky Guy Comics is back, aka Charlie, and I'm joined, as always, by the Dream Team. What's up, boys?
What's
Tom's
happening?
Here. Tom's the Dream Team. He's here.
The Dream Team.
Oh, wow. Put us away. Yes, I'm. First of all, I'm glad that you've got your original Geeky Guy Comics back, Charlie.
Yeah,
I'm
awesome.
sure you're absolutely delighted. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to another good show. I hear we're talking about a certain Wolverine tonight.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm well up for that. Sweet. So have we had a good week? I think we've all been busy. We ain't really spoken, have we?
It's been quiet in the chat for a change. Normally we're back and forward every single day, but no, I think our work and life has taken over this week. But that's cool. We're here, and that's all that matters.
How have you been, Thomas?
Yeah, same, mate. Busy, but loving life. Can't complain.
Well, we've been busy. We can relax now. We've got the joy of the chat to jump into. We've got Fuzzy Dunlop. Greetings from north of the border. Scotland says hello. Good evening, sir. We have Batman Dixon. Hey up, killers. Oi, indeed. Massive shout out to you. Your CGC haul was pretty stupendous. And you had some gorgeous covers there, so well done for that. Panels and a half pint. Evening, Sean. Hope you are well, mate. The one and only Steam. I think Streambots is in this. Is more consistent than Connie travelling. I think to be fair. We've got Poptimus. Evening, Darren. Hope you're well, mate. Ashley Skyrim. Good evening. ABZ Comics. Good evening, gents. We've got Six Scale Padawan. Thank you very much for joining, sir. And the one and only Martin Simcox. Good evening, gent peeps. Hope you're all doing well. We are all doing well, and I'm feeling good about these killer covers this week. I'm looking forward to it. I'm feeling confident, and I'm feeling confident. I'm even going to get straight to the intro. Do it. Boom. So, if you ain't been watching the show since the start of this year, you will know that I'm rock bottom. Like you've got, I'm rock bottom. Andy and Tom are pulling away, and I'm fucking down.
Are we?
I'm nowhere there. It's ridiculous. But this is the business end of the show. This is the killer covers. So this is June 28th, which was New Comic Book Day yesterday. We've got 3 amazing covers that you would have seen up on Instagram, which I think was posted on Tuesday. Jumping straight in. Let's just go for it. Up first, Thomas.
It's me, mate. So I've gone for Harley Quinn. Normally Charlie would have gone for Harley Quinn, but I jumped in the gun and I went for Harley Quinn issue 31 this week, and I've gone for the Clayton Crane Virgin variant. I just love Clayton Crane. I think he's Clayton Crane. I think he's absolutely insane, and I'd like to see, because I think this is a card stock, so I'd like to see the CGCs that he does when he puts his signature on it and where he'll put it, and like he tends to remark these kind of work. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, but. Yeah, I thought this was a really cool cover. I like the green splatters everywhere. It's quite awesome, I think.
Andy, what do you think of this?
It's another Harley Quinn cover. I think whenever an artist takes up the mantle of trying to do a Harley Quinn cover, it's a difficult one because there's so many different varieties and variations that have been done. I'll be honest, this one didn't catch my eye when I was looking at it. Normally when I'm looking through all the different covers, I try to I put the ones that catch my eye to the side, but this one sort of passed me by a little bit. I don't know if I've got some Harley Quinn fatigue, if that
possibly, mate.
Possibly, that's
maybe.
What it is. What about you, Charlie?
Break. I think you need a rest. You need a rest.
Can I have one?
Yeah,
please.
No rest
have
for
the
the
rest
wicked.
evening on.
No, there's no rest for the wicked.
See ya.
But
Charlie, what about you?
Do you know what? I do like Clayton Crane, and I do like Harley Quinn, and I would have picked this, but Tom, you jumped in front of me and got this. I do like it. I think there's a little bit too much going on. If I'm being honest, I kind of just think there's too many colours. Like obviously, this is what Clayton Crane does. He like kind of manipulates the artwork and makes it look his own and stuff, and it is great. And I would love to pick it up, but the only thing I've noticed, and I've literally just noticed it now, is look at her crutch.
She's got a gap. What's wrong with the gap?
No. It looks like there's a stain.
Oh,
I've literally just noticed that now. And it's kind of just put me off in that.
Oh, thanks, Charlie.
That must be the excess from the moist moves on Peter's show.
I'm going to try and change the subject very rapidly, because when he said that he noticed something on the cover, I thought he was going to go for the smiley face that was on the top of the mallet.
No.
Because if you notice, the green at the bottom is obviously where she's been smacking everybody with the mallet and just obliterating them. So I thought that was quite cool. But yeah, now
also,
that you mentioned,
she's got Queen written at the back.
Yeah. There we go.
If you look behind the red hue at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like
as Phil
a card.
said.
That's cool.
As Phil said, now we can't unsee that. We can't. And Darren has very amply said it's a crane stain. There we go. Hashtag crane stain.
Crane stain.
Let's get that. And that's unfair, Dan. Charlie would say anything to win. Look, I'm happy.
It's true.
At the bottom of the pile. That adds to the appeal,
No,
Charlie.
not.
There we go. Look, see, look, what I've said is adding traction to this conversation. So you can thank me later, Tom.
Do you think if you got this CGC, there would be some Newton rings?
Depends whether Newton rings are going to turn up.
That's the thing. That is it. But this is Harlequin 31, the Clayton Crane Virgin variant. It's quite ironic that it's a Virgin variant, but yet there's a Clayton.
I knew that was coming. I nearly said that myself.
So I've gone for the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 28. I've gone for the Tiago, the silver variant A, black cat looking all kinds of sexy, voluptuous, loving that, loving her hair, loving her arm, her hair on the arm. There's not really much I can say about this. It's a really, really good cover. I think it's fantastic. And you know what? For once, I think this is better than the Virgin variant of it. You kind of get more detailing on this. You kind of get more character profiling in on the Virgin variant one, where it's got like a full body image. I prefer this one, so I've gone for this.
I do like it. I must admit. Again, it feels as if I've seen it before. It's, and I can't speak. When you see my mine coming up, but it just feels as if I wasn't sure that this could have been a number of different artists that could have done this, because it could have been a Zerdy, it could have been a what's the other one that does the lovely females? We'll come back. Which is mine coming up next. But yeah, it just feels as if it's been done before. I'm not saying that it's not nice; it's absolutely spot on. But again, I think if I was going for this, I'd go for the good dress, just because I think I was going to use the word pops, but you know what I mean. It does literally pops.
Tom,
I like it, but I've got a thing about digital art that looks like it's been done as a 3D render rather than like a painted piece. I kind of feel like it takes a little bit away from the hand drawing side of things, of artwork and stuff. But I mean, I like it. I think it's good. It's just I'm not sure about her pouting face and her massive crimson chin. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good cover. I like the hair detail. I really like it. I'm really in the hair detail, because you can tell the difference between the hair and the fur. I think that's really clever.
The detailing on it is great. Like you can tell the difference and stuff. But I do get it. There are a majority of them that have been the same. And as Connie's saying, I don't know if it's because I'm the wrong demographic for these kinds of covers, but the way that they draw the women in the comic universes on covers is so samey. I think it is. I think it's because the way that the female characters are portrayed in the comics and in the movies and stuff like that, I guess it's just taken to the other level where the art is kind of sexified.
Do we think maybe that most things have been done now, so everything is repeated, everything is regurgitated? Because it's very rare you'll pick up a Spider-Man comic and look at the cover and go, "Oh, I've seen him in that position before," or "I've seen him do that before."
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean?
They've got to sell this comic doing something, because it's definitely not going to be the interiors of the story sort of thing. So
no. Oh my god, the Spider-Man story at the moment is just dog. After you said last week about reading it, Andy, I thought, I'll pick it up and have a crack, because
I'm sorry,
it can't be that bad. It is terrible. I mean,
the
Nick is it Nick Kling who did it last time? who was doing it when he did the whole like where Harry Osborn was that evil worm style character, and then Norman Osborn became a good guy, and that all happened. That was a really shit story, and then it just seems to have continued. I don't understand. Spider-Man's their flagship. I mean, what's going on?
So are we in
To be fair,
agreement
though,
that
Batman's
this,
not great.
Are we in agreement that this cover is better than the story?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'll take that. I'll take that. That's a win for me. Thank you very much. Cool.
Good night.
Moving on.
This is my cover. This is Heat Seeker, a Gun Honey series, issue number 1. This is through Titan Comics, and this was an FOC reveal. I believe that this is a foil cover as well. Maybe somebody in the chat can confirm that. When I first looked at this, I must admit I thought it was Jenny Frison. If you look at the face, it gives gives that vibe. But I just thought this was fantastic, and I think, given that I believe that it's a foil cover, please somebody in the chat confirm whether that is the case or not.
I think it is, mate. I think
it is a foil cover, mate. Yeah.
It would definitely make sense, and I think we've definitely went for a vibe this week. Like, it's obviously there wasn't a huge amount of great covers to choose from, but it just so happens that we picked 3 lovely ladies on our covers.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tough choice for everybody. I know that Sonic's Comics, that's in the chat at the minute, likes these sorts of covers, so it'll be interesting to see who he goes for.
I've been reading the Gun Honey series, and I found it great. I really enjoyed it.
I dropped off it. I got 2 issues, I think, and then dropped off it.
I quite liked it. It's the whole different take on like the espionage and the female spies and stuff. Yeah, I kind of joined it, so this should be pretty good. This cover's awesome. So yeah, I'm even stuttering because this is a good one.
It is. I love it. What do you think, Tom?
I'll be honest. When you first sent it, I thought this is a really cool looking X-Men comic. I honestly thought it was Jean Grey to start with. I thought it was the Phoenix. So it took me a little while to realise it wasn't. I think it's a really good cover. Again, I totally agree. I think Art Germ has stepped up his game a little bit, because I thought it was a Jenny Frison cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think if you hadn't have picked first, I might have gone for this one, to be honest.
I had that thought as well. That's why I tried to get in there as quick as I possibly can. Because if
you
remember,
you got in there 3 weeks ago, mate. This cover.
That's true. Do you remember the first Gun Honey series was the Adam Hughes cover?
Yes, yeah.
And it was very similar to this, with her standing on the beach. So it's definitely a vibe.
But yeah, no, I think Leon Russell, I've got to agree with this. Dan Dixon is definitely a one-handed read.
Indeed.
Why not? So yeah, so they're the 3 covers. Tom is going to do us the honour.
It's up now.
Oh, is it? That was quick.
I didn't pretty it's up now. Hey!
Anyway, so we've got Heat Seeker,
Andy's
a Gun Honey series, issue number 1 from Titan Comics. We've got the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 28 from Marvel, and we have Harley Quinn issue 31 by Clayton Crane. The vote is up now, and then at the end of the show, we will find out who won. Probably not going to be me, but hey ho, anyway. So last week there was 3 comics that went up. The winner was, by 53% of the vote, was The Incredible Hulk, which was Andy's pick. So this was obviously for week 25. This is by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Nick Klein, and the colours by Matthew Wilson. Andy, I think there's about 16 covers out. I've picked 8.
Okay.
Did you want to go through them, or do you want me to go through them, mate?
No, I'll happily go through them. So we've got the main cover by Nick Klein. We'll get a fantastic George Perez variant cover, rest in peace. We've got the Marquez variant, and we've got the Stadium Comics exclusive homage variant, another homage. Yeah. We've got the 1 in 50 Trimp Hidden Gem variant. We've got the second printing already. It's Nick Klein variant, which I think is taken from a panel or a page in the book. Yeah. We've got my personal favourite, and I picked this one up. This was a Scott Young variant. And we have the Patrick Gleason Green Elemental Virgin variant, which is a bit meh.
Yeah, I think he's done 3 of them. I think it comes in that colour, like a faded black and white, and then a brown as well. So
I feel like they're flogging a bit of a dead horse now with Gleason. No offense to Gleason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's for me, he's a little bit hit and miss, if I'm honest. But the person that's, and I know that Scotty Young, you either love him or hate him. There's kind of a no in between. But some of the covers that he's been producing lately have been nothing short of fantastic. And given the amount of work that guy must do, I have to take my proverbial hat off to him. I think some of them are class.
Because don't forget, he's writing Strange Academy as well.
Exactly.
And he's overseeing like I hate Fairyland as well. So yeah, the geezer's
He's a machine.
He
Absolute
is a
machine.
machine.
You
Talking
seen on
about
his Instagram?
machines.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on. I was
I was
literally
going to say,
just
have you
about to say.
seen on his Instagram? He's doing daily sketches,
Yeah.
and if you can comment, and he'll do whatever you say, basically.
Well, that's
Nice.
wicked. That is wicked. But yeah, talking about machines and like actually cracking through. This was your pick, Andy. What did you?
It was.
You had the privilege of reviewing this on Peter's show last week as well, didn't you?
Yeah, last week when this was one of the comics that we all decided to read. So the synopsis for this, just to make everybody aware, was that the age of monsters has begun as an enraged Hulk tries to take control of Bruce Banner's body permanently. A mysterious immortal turns every monster in the Marvel universe against Banner in an attempt to free their creator, the primordial mother of horrors. With the help of an unlikely new friend, Banner and Hulk must try to stop the world from getting plunged into darkness in this terrifying new series. As soon as I heard that synopsis, guys, I thought this is going to be something different. This is going to be completely different from the absolute car crash that was Donny Cates and Ryan Otley's run. I'll maybe throw it over to you guys because obviously I've reviewed it once and read it for a couple of times. What did you think?
Tom, am I all right to go first?
Yeah, sound. Yeah, yes.
Right.
I will sit back and relax.
So obviously, Al Ewing's The Immortal Hulk it's immortal. It was 50 odd runs. It was sensational.
Award-winning.
It was awesome. It was awesome. So I take my proverbial hat off to him. But then it's thrown over to Donny Cates. Now, Donny Cates done wonders on Thor, which he's still writing. He's done wonders on Venom. So I think the majority of people are like, Donny Cates going to Hulk is going to be amazing. Donny Cates going to Hulk, Ram V going to Venom. It seems like a match made in heaven. I switched off after about 3 issues of Hulk. I just got utterly bored of it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the writing. I don't know if it was the artwork by Ryan Otley. I can't really put my finger on it, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel like I was getting on board with the character development. I didn't really understand the narrative and stuff like that. So when I read this, I was pretty surprised to find out that it does carry on from how Donny Cates' run ended with the Green Door closing and stuff like that. And it took me by surprise because visually this just, for me, it got all my horror senses tingling. And I was like, this is what I was expecting from a Hulk story. Like, this is back with a bang. Philip Kennedy Johnson, like he's been on the show once before and he loves his horror genres and the way that he writes and stuff. I just loved it. I thought the way that Nick Klein had done all the intricate colours and the shading and the pops of action within the panels and stuff was just nothing short of sensational, if I'm being honest. I think I realised straight from the off that the approach of this comic, for me to read this comic, I had to kind of read it like I was reading a horror novel, like Basket Full of Heads and stuff, and I was expecting things just to pop out and take me by surprise. And it did. And I literally, straight off the bat, from page 1 all the way through, I was pleasantly surprised. I loved it, and I'm absolutely chomping at the bit to jump onto the next issue.
Tom?
Yeah, so for me, as it's well documented in every show that we do, I'm not into my horror comics. They're just not my cup of tea. And when we were said we're going to read The Incredible Hulk, I thought, awesome, brilliant. But I know that Hulk is originally a horror comic, so they redid that with Al Ewing's version of The Immortal Hulk. So I did think this was going to kind of go down that road. And I was pleasantly surprised, despite the fact that I don't like horror comics. I thought this was really good. I thought it was really well written. I think Philip Kennedy Johnson does a great job of getting you really suspenseful right from the get-go. There's a few pages in this, there's a few bits things that happen in this book that really kind of set the tone for the whole book, especially right at the start. Like that first panel, that second panel in where you go into the tomb and you see that this is going to be monsters. And the fact that Nick Klein has drawn it in such a gritty way. I mean, if you read the stuff he did on Thor, it's a bit more colourful, a bit more there's not as much detail, not much shading, whereas this is dark from the get-go. So this first panel is amazing. But one of the first things that happens is Bruce Banner goes into a diner. And then whilst he's in the diner, the Hulk talks to him. He's like, you shouldn't have done that. I want control. And then the next clip you see is Banner waking up, clicking his neck and sorting himself out because he's hurt. And then the tone right there, then at that point, is shown about how this comic's going to go for the whole series, because what the Hulk has done whilst Banner has been unconscious is horrific. And then the whole story goes on from there. Like, you then get this girl who's been beaten up by, like, he's been treated badly by her dad, and it kind of moves on from there. And then you get the character that you meet in the first couple of pages where that she goes into the tomb and all the skin rips off. I mean, it's really good, really, really good. And although, like I said, I don't like horror comics, I was enthralled. And right from the get-go, I was in. I wanted to know what happened. I want to see how the book ended. And I'll be honest, when it got to the end, I was like, "Oh, is that it? I want to read issue 2. Come on, let's have issue 2." And I haven't got that excited about a Marvel comic for a very, very long time. So fair play to Kennedy Johnson, man. Fair play.
I think, if I'm being honest, I'm going to say this. I think this could be a worthy successor from Immortal Hulk.
Definitely.
I really do. I think if it carries on the way that it's going, you can clearly see the creative team had so much fun doing this issue, because I think, as Dr. Von Hoot said, like, leaning into the monster horror has got people throwing money at it, and I think that the way that they're doing it as well. I think when Donny Cates had like the whole controlling the Hulk through the starship and stuff like that, it was enjoyable for about 1 or 2 issues, but then it just constantly continued, and it just didn't seem to go anywhere. This has just literally gone from 0 to 100 in the space of 30 pages. And I just absolutely loved it. And Andy, that panel you picked is just insane.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. So Incredible Hulk issue 1, Stan Lee puts in the front cover, is he man or monster, or is he both? And I love, if you actually read after the story, there's like a full page letter by the writer, and he gives a breakdown as to what his thinking is between this and why he's obviously so privileged to write this story. And Philip Kennedy Johnson's kind of known for being a bit of a saviour, and resurrecting characters in comic books once they've been sort of done to death, sort of thing. I don't think this is any exception. I think he has sort of stepped away from the usual story that we get of the Hulk, of being this sort of tortured soul, and like his struggles of being able to control and the Hulk and all that stuff. It feels like not only in comics but also in the movies that we've seen that, and that's been done. And it feels like this is the first time that we've actually got the monster element, and we're looking at the fact that this character is a monster, and what happens if all the other monsters have to go and beat him and fight him, and that seems to be what the next X amount of issues are going to be about. I thought it was absolutely superb. I loved it. I thought the artwork was perfect.
The artwork is insane.
I don't say that often. That's the thing. It's like I can't imagine any other, like maybe Warren Johnson would be a good shout for this sort of thing. That sort of dark, gritty artwork that he does. I just thought it was superb. I thought this first issue for Hulk was better than the Immortal Hulk.
Yes, I agree. I would agree with that. Do you think he's been given a bit of free reign? Like, do you think they've gone,
I think so.
in the nice way possible, Donny Cates is screwed Hulk over a little bit. We need it resurrecting. Like, do what you need to do, but don't use any mainstream characters.
They're throwing everything at it. That's the thing. Like, they're throwing the Man Thing, Ghost Rider. I thought the interesting thing about that one, and that's on obviously the third page there, that they only give you, like, if you don't know those characters, like they just give you a little, like, a little taste. This is what's coming up. But can you imagine what other characters that aren't in this first issue that they're going to introduce? I just think the possibilities are amazing.
I mean,
I can remember Hulk fighting Ghost Rider was World War Hulk when he came back from Scar, and there was a massive battle between him and Hulk. I think Delotto did the artwork for it, so this could be quite interesting to see this happen.
And the Mother of Horrors as well seems to be a character that they're building up to. And if you look at the front cover of the main issue 1, you can almost see behind the Hulk. It almost looks as if that's possibly like an outline of what the Mother of Horrors is. I don't know if that'll be considered like a first cover appearance sort of thing. But yeah, for me this was 10 out of 10. And for a Marvel book, that's normally quite a difficult thing to do. So Philip Kennedy Johnson's absolutely
I mean, this
blowing
is
this away.
this is the first Marvel comic I've picked up and read in, it seems like forever. Like, honestly, every time I look at the Marvel what was released this week, I'm like, there's nothing there at all. When I see this, I was all in. Like, it's just amazing. Like, it really, really is, like, seriously enjoyable. 10 out of 10 on colours, artwork and writing. And even the bit I was going to mention that, the bit at the end where Philip Kennedy Johnson's written about, like, where the Hulk's come from, what the Hulk stands for, what Stan Lee created and stuff like that. It's even if you don't read the comic, just go and read that, because that kind of just piques your interest and you think, I'm all in. Like, it was amazing. Like, I cannot wait for this too. Is it do we know how long it's going to be?
It's ongoing, isn't it? I think it's ongoing.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those ones that will be ongoing until it stops selling. So it's kind of a, like, Philip Kennedy Johnson's got a job to do here and sell as many comics as he possibly can.
Yeah.
The thing that got me with this was the fact that there didn't seem to be a huge amount of press about this book. It was kind of a, like, under the radar a little bit, and I didn't see a huge amount of store variants either for this. I could be completely wrong, but apart from obviously the ones that you've shown there. But for me, if you go back to the Marquez cover, if you can do that, Charlie. Yeah. So the third one there, I mean, look at the Hulk and the reflection of his jacket.
Yeah.
I just think that's superb.
It is cool.
It's such a dark story, and I think where I just like the horror element of it, because I honestly think, this character here, I think she's got something in her that just wants to break out. And I think if she can kind of partner with the Hulk, Bruce Banner's either going to try and get her to contain it, or the Hulk's going to kind of get it out of her, and something's going to happen. I think she's going to be an important character throughout the run.
Have we seen this character before? Like,
I was trying to think that. I can't think of, like, because some of these, like, especially that one down there, the bottom left-hand panel of her screaming, I feel like I've seen that in a comic before.
Not too sure. Maybe the chat can tell us if this was a first appearance or not.
Like, it's ironic, the only woman that I'm kind of thinking of is X-23, like the way that she's, like, kind of angry and acting and stuff like that.
She has that vibe, yeah.
But yeah, definitely 10 out of 10 all across the board. And I think if anyone in the chat hasn't read this yet, I'll definitely go out and read it, because I think, as Andy was saying, Philip Kennedy Johnson seems to be the saver of down and out characters, and he's literally smashed the ball out of the park with this issue. So hopefully, long may it continue.
Well, it's that good. It's on my pull list. So,
yeah.
Oh, nice. Is that good?
Perfect. So moving on. What a banging start already. Final the cut-off, top three. Now, this was a bit of a talking point between us three, because obviously with the 4th of July holiday coming around, there's not much. There wasn't much. Obviously, we do our final the cut-off through Slab Crusaders, and they didn't. James from Slab Crusaders didn't really have one this week. He said he was going to update it and stuff like that, but there isn't much for it to go on. So what we've done, we've picked our top three that are going to be on FOC when it finally does come out. So if you do manage to head over to Slab Crusaders, and they do have them up there, let him know that we sent you. We haven't got the barcodes or the QR codes or anything like that, because nothing's up on the site yet. But when you do go over, if you see anything, let him know that we sent you. Tom, you went for this beauty.
Pure Evil. I went for Pure Evil by Mirka Andolfo, who's just an amazing writer. She's done some great stuff, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I think me and you have spoke about this one before, Charlie.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good one to pick up. And Laura Braga, is that how you say it?
Braga, yeah.
Braga is an amazing artist. So yeah, it should be a good one. Also, I love the name. I think the title's awesome.
I just love what they've done on the image logo. They put like a paw print, which I thought was just like subtle and quite cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
So that is issue number 1 of Pure Evil. I've gone for the ongoing Noctera issue number 16 by Image Comics, written by Scott Snyder and art by Tony S. Daniel. This is just constantly getting better and better for me. I've been on it since issue 1. I'm not going to put it down anytime soon. Picking up the trade paperbacks, picking up the individual issues. So yeah, if there's anyone out there reading it and is liking it as much as I do, well done. And then Andy,
yeah. So I've went for the Devil's Cut issue number 1. This is by the newly created superstar team that is Distillery, or DSTLRY. I've put there that there's various writers and various artists on this, to say that there is a handful of superstar writers and artists involved in this. Doesn't do it justice. I would strongly suggest that you go and Google this book after the show and get it on your pull list. I know that Coffee and Heroes, one of the LCSs here in Belfast, has had a preview of this and has had the joy of reading it. And Alan says that it's absolutely fantastic. And I normally, listen to Alan whenever he gives good recommendations. This particular cover, there's many of them, but this particular cover is by my favourite, Jock. So I will obviously be picking this one up. But it just, the whole vibe about Distillery and what they stand for, I think we shouted them out and called them out at the start when it was announced as part of our news segments. If you don't know who they are or what they're all about, definitely go and give them a Google. It definitely feels as if they're going to be creating something pretty special. And this is our first book, and it sounds as if it's an absolute banger. So I'll be picking this up and putting it on my pull list.
Yeah, boom. It does look good. I think there's going to be so much coming out from Distillery. And I think, obviously, we're going Thought Bubble. I think it's going to be very heavily influenced this year by Distillery. I think there's going to be a lot going on, which is going to be interesting. So, yeah, moving forward, looking interesting. So, yeah, so head over to Slack Crusaders. I'm sure they're going to have this up. I think they will. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking. I honestly don't know anything about this. So I'm looking forward to just picking it up and reading it when it comes out.
I think it's a big book as well. I think it's like £8 or £9 for this book, if I remember rightly. It could be a little bit cheaper on Slab Crusaders, but I think it's quite a thick one-shot book. So yeah, look forward to it.
Oh, interesting. So then following on from that, Andy's got us a treat this week.
Yeah, I've got our killer indie picks. So these are the indie picks for July 5th, which is obviously next week. And first up, one that you may recognise because we had this in our FOC. This is Swan Songs, issue number 1 by Image Comics. This is going to be written by W. Maxwell Prince. We obviously know who that is, who has done the likes of Haha and Ice Cream Man, and artwork by Martin Simmons. So I've got a little synopsis here that I'll quickly read out. So W. Maxwell Prince continues his weird winning one-shot formula with this all-new multi-artist project that explores the way things end and also how they never really do. Swan Song comprises stories about endings: the end of the world, the end of marriage, the end of sentence, the end of the world, which I suppose one might consider the beginning of a new world. And along for the terminal ride are some of comics' best and brightest artists. The first apocalyptic issue, The End of the World, is drawn by none other than the Department of Truth's Martin Simmons. Future artists for future endings include Caspar Wynyard from Homesick Pilots, Felipe Andrade from Many Deaths of Layla Starr, and more to be announced. All things come to a close. These are the Swan Songs. I just think that sounds superb.
This just sounds to me, like what was the horror comics that they were just one shots and they had the one artist on, and it was the same. It was different artists and it was the same writer constantly.
Oh yes, that was the coin.
Yeah, Silver Coin.
Silver Coin, yeah.
That I think this is like going to follow on from that. It's going to be one shot. It's going to be the same writer. It's just going to have different artists and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I think they're going to go deep. I think W. Maxwell Prince is going to be quite a philosophical, reflective comic. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, one of those ones where you'll read it and you'll can't stop thinking about it type thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Next up, this is a personal favourite of mine. So I read issue number 1 of Sins of the Salton Sea issue number 1. This is issue number 2. It's going to be out next week. Written by Ed Bryson and artwork by C.P. Smith. And this is from AWA Upshot. So the synopsis read: after a simple armoured car heist turns into something much more sinister and dangerous for brothers Wyatt and Jasper, things go from bad to worse for the ex-cons. Captured by the mysterious and dangerous cult, the Sons of the Salton Sea, Jasper comes face to face with the group's leader, while Wyatt tries to evade the cult and the local police that work for them. In another action-packed and bloody issue, both brothers get separate peeks into why the Sons of Salton Sea exist and why they're going to such extreme lengths to get back what the brothers stole. Guys, I can't recommend you dive into issue number 1. AWA Upshot are known for great sort of mini compact series. I don't think this is going to be any different. Did you guys read issue number 1 at all? No,
I did read it.
You did recommend it.
Yeah.
I really
Did you read
enjoyed it.
Charlie?
Yeah, I really
Yeah, you
enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, AWA Upshot, they're another indie like retailer that are doing some good stuff, and it does go under the radar sometimes. It really does, but stuff like this keeps you on your toes and keeps you on NRE Comics.
100%. No, definitely, I'd highly recommend this one to go and seek it out. And then next we have Barnstormers, issue number 1. This is written by Scott Snyder and art by the fantastic Tula Latte. This is going to be distributed through Dark Horse Comics. So this was originally a Comixology comic.
I was going to say, it seems like it's been around for ages.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you probably heard us talking about it and FOC.
We were going to review it, and then it didn't come out, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was quite heavily delayed. So the synopsis for this one, it's 1918, the early days of the barnstorming era, when pilots competed with each other by performing deadlier than more wondrous feats as we've never seen it before. Pilot John Barron is back from the front lines of the war, where he has been injured. At 18 years old, he's an adventurer who lives his life traveling from town to town in his plane, entertaining folks across the country, most of whom have never seen a car, let alone a plane. His world changes when he meets Helen, a young woman who shares his passion for aviation and adventure. They become a travelling act, flying from town to town, delighting folks with their antics. Helen even becomes John's wing walker, climbing out on the wing of the plane mid-flight to perform death-defying acrobats. Along the way, they bond, confesses their secrets, and begin a romance in the lush, character-driven series that explores the early days of aviation and the evolving relationship and romance between two young pilots.
Yeah, and Darren is right. She had posters for the Thought Bubble I went to. Yeah, so that was in 2021, and I remember I picked one up. I got it signed by her and stuff like that. But I mean, that was 2 years ago. That seems ages ago, and I think that was coming out in January 22 on Comixology. I think it was there or thereabouts. So that's a year on.
So I've read this through Comixology.
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend it. The artwork is stunning by Tulawati.
Mm-hmm. It is. No, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It looks interesting. I don't know if it's my cup of tea with like the aviation and stuff like that, but I think a ballad of love and murder, it could be a whodunit.
I'd love to put this back on the list to read. This is one of the ones I really wanted to read.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So that's the indie picks. It's everything else done. So the character showcase this week is exciting. I'm well excited about this. Like this is obviously my pick. So first week we had Judge Dredd, then we had Tom's fantastic Spawn last week, and then this week I get to do my favourite character, which is Wolverine. Lads, are you excited as I am?
Very.
Can you not tell them my face? I'm excited for you, Charlie. I'm a little bit disappointed you never cosplayed. To be fair.
Well, do you know what? I was planning on playing that and then just literally dressing up quickly, but I couldn't do. I couldn't do it.
Where's Ben when we need him?
Where is Ben when we need him? But so obviously this is Wolverine. If you don't know who Wolverine is, or you've been living under a rock, or I don't know where you would have been. Like, I don't really know. So I'm just going to kind of break it down. So obviously, who is Wolverine? So James Howlett, known by his alias Logan, but more commonly known as Wolverine, is a fictional character in the Marvel Comics universe. He is a mutant superhero known for his regenerational healing factor, enhanced senses, and retractable claws. He was created by Len Wein and artist John Romita Sr. Now, obviously, he has had so many reincarnations. He's been around for God knows ever. And for me, he kind of saved the X-Men. I think if I'm being honest, I think what I want to say late 1974, early 75, where I think everyone knows I'm not a massive X-Men fan, but they was in a really bad shape then. Like they were literally the only X-Men comics you could get were reprints of previous issues. There was kind of nothing new coming out. And then obviously like there was the 5 X-Men, there was the original X-Men, but then in Giant X-Men comes along, and we're introduced to this little badass who's about 5'8", probably about my size, and he just seemed to just grab the ball by the horns and just save the X-Men. In my opinions, I don't know what you two think.
Tom's got an X-Men or number one, haven't you?
I do have a giant size X-Men. Yes, I do.
What about the comic?
Yeah, so I have one of them as well. I suppose, I agree. I mean, I think the X-Men's golden team were boring at that point, which is why they brought in the blue team to save them and kind of pull them back from the brink. I think X-Men comics, if I'm right, the sales of X-Men comics had plummeted dramatically at that point, which is why there's not many of the giant size X-Men issue 1. Because they weren't sure if they'd pull it back, but then they did obviously pull it back, and then obviously went on to do quite successful things. But then again, it had another dip a bit later on. I don't know if you guys know that Wolverine saved the Avengers as well as a comic book. So back in, I think it was 2000, when they did the brand new Avengers, which then led up to the Secret Invasion story arc, they brought Wolverine in. There was Wolverine and Spider-Man were introduced into the new Avengers and the Sentry. And that storyline in itself created, an amazing version of Avengers. I've still got PSD from Get Exit Swords. I don't think I've read an X-Men comic since.
But
I tell you what. I tell you how Wolverine saved me. Wolverine saved me doing homework for many a year, because I remember going to W.H. Smith's and Woolworths back in the day to pick up the X-Men comics, and I always remember the gatefold wrapper and cover of X-Men and Sabretooth blew my tiny mind. Yeah.
Which, for me, I think one of the old, I read a quote, I think it was from Roy Thomas. It says, I thought we'd sell more comics in Canada if we had a character that was Canadian. And I think it's just, that's how plain it was to sell comics. If we can make a character Canadian and sell comics in Canada, then we're on to a winner. But he just he was just awesome. Like from the get-go, I remember just like being a kid coming down on a Saturday morning and watching the X-Men. And the intro for that blew my mind. Like the intro for it, I was like, I want to be part of them. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to be part of them. And it was just, I just loved it. And I think, like when in 1975, when the Giant X-Men come out, I think people started to realise that, hold on, we're on to a winner here. It's not like there's more to this story than the plummeting sales that have come before it. And I kind of went for this picture because I kind of think it sums up every single incarnation of Wolverine, Logan, and everything that we've had before it. So I think that gives a brief breakdown of who Wolverine is. Now, obviously, for me, my meet cute for Wolverine, right? You want to cosplay, here you go, Andy, right? So this is where Geeky Guy Comics all started from. So in 2018, I went to London MCM Comic Con and I cosplayed as Wolverine. I went all out, done it all, had a thoroughly enjoyable time, met Deadpool and Jean Grey and Cyclops and stuff like that. But when I was there, I think because I'm a little fucking short ass like Wolverine is, I was getting these photo opportunities and I was like getting people was asking me, have I got a social media set up? Am I a cosplayer? Do I dress as Wolverine? Blah, 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 blah. And it was only when, ironically, I approached a place in space and picked up a Wolverine comic, which I've got here now, and was like reading it. And then I was with my friend and I was kind of giving an on-the-spot review. Tom, who owns a place in space or runs a place in space, said to me, you should set up an Instagram account where you just do your reviews, because I've just overrode you over talking to your friend and I think you've got a little place for that. And that's kind of where it all started. So thanks to Wolverine, 5 years ago is where I kind of started.
So it's Wolverine who we have to blame for this? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is. Yes, Bob.
And
it is.
If you look really closely, you can actually see Deadpool's meet cute as well.
Yep. Yes, you can. But that's the comic. That's the comic that I picked up and was reviewing from A Place in Space when I went to MCM Comic Con 2018. Nice. That's the one, and it's an awesome cover as well because it's like the circus. So there's like you got Nightcrawler there, you got the Beastman, Wolverine. And you've got various other things. But I mean, this was awesome. This is where it all started. I don't know about you two, like when you was ever first introduced to Wolverine or fell down a rabbit hole. Tom?
It was pick and mix at Woolworths and the X-Men comic. that was the dream for me in the 90s, and that's how I got introduced to the X-Men and Wolverine and Sabretooth, which was one of my favorites. What were you, Tom?
Mine's the TV show. Absolutely, Saturday morning cartoons. That's how I was introduced to Spider-Man, to be perfectly honest. And the X-Men, all watching Live and Kicking. They'd come on. That theme tune, though, mate.
But it was just the way. It was just the way that they was all flying in different, and then you got the X-Jet, and it was just wicked. It was so remember. And then Martin Simcox has interrupted you there, Tom. Sorry, mate. He says, I remember getting X-Men 94 in Marvel free comic pack for 25p in the 70s. Never looked back. 70p for a comic. You couldn't even buy a corner of a comic for 70p now. This is it. That's it. And then Darren Apoptimus said the arcade game changed that as well.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that. Thank you, Don. That's such good memories.
See, I still get to play that because I've got my little retro computer, and it is if you want to play that game, buy the console just for that, because it is worth it. It is.
Send me a link. I'm buying it today.
It's amazing. So that was my first meet cute of Wolverine, but then we kind of go in. I like this first appearance in because this one is forever. So the Incredible Hulk.
Controversial.
Yes, indeed. The Incredible Hulk 180. So written by Len Wein. Penciler is Herb Trimpe, and the colorist is Christy Shield. Now, this was released in October 1974. Now, obviously, everyone knows, or seems to know, that Wolverine made his first appearance in the fantastic and ever-growing, costly The Incredible Hulk 181. But the issue 180, which was published in October 1974, actually had an appearance at the back, as you'll see on this cover here, at the back of the comic, serving as a cameo. Now,
is it though a cameo though? Because he's talking and it's in full. This
is what I'm saying. So the majority of people you ask would turn around and say Wolverine's first appearance was in 181. CGC would say Wolverine's first appearance. For me, that's more than a cameo. If you want a cameo, you look at Batman. Joker War, when you see the back of Punchline's head, that's a cameo. This is a full-on, pretty decent size image of Wolverine speaking, he's in action pose, and it says he's coming in the next issue. For me, this wouldn't be a cameo. This would be the first appearance. I don't know about you two.
I'd agree with you. Or buy both. Wow, you can't afford both.
Ed Vick can. He got both. That's the reason why it came into my mind, because he's like, oh yeah, I got 181 and 180, and I was like, oh wow, that's superb. These are like keys.
Like Dream Comics.
So would you call this a cameo or a first appearance?
I would call it a cameo. The people that the market dictates what's a cameo and what's a first appearance. It's a first cover appearance on 181, and that's the book that sells the most. So for me, if I had the option between the two, that's the question you have to ask. If you had the option between the two, which one would you be buying? For me, it'd be 181.
Yeah,
I think so, because if you CGC'd 181, at least he's on the cover.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. And that is it. And unfortunately, I can't afford the real one, so I just bought a.
I've got the facsimile. It's great.
A doppelganger. And do you know what? It's awesome. I only like a modern bit of history here, but obviously this was released a month later in 1974, November, and this will go down as obviously Wolverine's first appearance, and he's all the way through it. He becomes like one of Marvel's iconic characters in this.
Can you just I'd have to imagine walking into a comic store in November 1974 and seeing this book up in the rack. Like, it would just blow your mind, wouldn't it? It's like it's just a different world, and like I don't think we'll ever get that same feeling again. I don't think there's enough new characters that are getting introduced into for us to care. Will we ever see the likes again? Probably not, and most of that's down to Stan Lee and the rest of those guys. Yeah,
and I think that the impact of this cover, like the colours that are used, they're so bright and in your face that, as you said, if you walked into a comic shop and see this, you'd be like, I need to have that. And even if I'm not interested in it, I want to see what that's about. And I think that's
Don't forget about Wendigo. Little
Wendigo. But I think that's why it's such a constant selling comic. Like, the price hardly ever dips. And I think it's because it's so impactful. I mean, even the facsimile is great. Like it's awesome. So imagine just owning, if you're lucky like Ed Victor, own both of them, you lucky bastard. Well played, you. But it's great. So this was his first full appearance, 1974, Incredible Hulk issue 181. Then we go on to like kind of key Wolverine characters. So obviously Charles Xavier, Professor X, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Now he is obviously the creator of and founder of the X-Men, but he's also a powerful telepathic as well. Now his first appearance was in the X-Men issue number 1, which came out in September 1963. He kind of became his best friend, is a friend, close acquaintance, a good synopsis of how he, a father figure even, that he kind of, because he kind of attaches himself to Logan, because I think he sees that Logan's like a lost child type of thing,
It's
and
like
he kind of wants to,
like
do you know
mentor.
what I mean? Yeah,
Like mentor.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. So, I mean, yeah, this was his. Have any of you got this?
I got the facsimile of this one.
Yeah,
Me too. That's as much as I can afford.
exactly. But yeah, so Professor X, obviously Charles Xavier, and that was his first appearance there. There he is, paraplegic, sitting in his chair with the X-Men flying around him and stuff. Then we go on to Jean Grey Phoenix. Now, obviously, again, she was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. She is an Omega level telepathic mutant, and her first appearance was also in the X-Men issue number 1, September 1963. But she appeared as Jean Grey, but then her first alter ego was Marvel Girl. And then obviously she dies and comes back as the Dark Phoenix and Phoenix. I've put this in as a key Wolverine character because obviously she's quite prominent in the X-Men, and she's also kind of the untouchable love interest for Wolverine, because in the comics she's married to Cyclops, but she's always got that kind of will she, won't she? Is she going to get it on with Logan? Is she going to? So I definitely thought she was out there. I mean, as a character, what do you guys think of her? I think I always read the X-Men thinking, they've got to get it on. They've got to get together, surely.
They did, didn't they?
I think, yeah, no, but I think like to stay together.
Oh no, he's too chaotic for that. It works better when they're not together because he fights for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I liked Jean Grey as a character. I think she was better when she came back as the Phoenix. They did better with her when she was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the more recent books, she's quite a cool character. I think if you go back far enough, she's one of those whingy characters you don't really like, a bit like Mary Jane.
Yeah. Andy,
Love her, absolutely love her.
Yeah,
I've got a thing for like telepathic mutants. That's my thing, guys. So, and redhead telepathic mutants. I mean, it's a full house. That's it.
I would say you probably got to tell her that, but she already knows.
Hey,
but yeah, I think she was kind of one of the first very powerful, important female roles for Marvel, wasn't she? Like, she paved the way for the rest of them.
Was she the first? I think she. No. Sue Storm was probably
Sue
the
Storm
first.
went from yeah.
I think you're probably right. I think Jean Grey was probably one of the most successful female characters that Marvel ever had. Because I don't know whether or not Sue Storm was ever well received like Jean Grey was.
Yeah. So yeah, sorry, we detracked a bit there, but obviously, yeah, she's the love interest of Logan and Wolverine in the films. Then we've also got Sabretooth, obviously Victor Creed. Yes, I knew you'd like this, Andy. So again, this was created by Chris Claremont and John Byrne. Now, this is Wolverine's most iconic and enduring nemesis. Now, obviously, in the films, they kind of brought up being brothers and brothers in arms and fighting in the wars and stuff. But his first appearance wasn't even in an X-Men comic. It was actually in Iron Fist issue number 14, which was released in 1977. I've read the online version of this, and it's a great comic. It's great. Like he's kind of like the polar opposite to Wolverine, and I think that's kind of why there's always that battle between whether they're going to kill each other, whether they want to leave it to the next thing. I think he's a great character, and he's actually a great villain for Wolverine. I think he kind of seems to get the best out of Wolverine as well.
I think if he was done right, and like a modern movie, I think it would be absolutely fantastic. And I may be making this up, but in Ben's live show today, he was showing off his autographs and his pictures and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I'm almost sure he had one of the original actors that played Sabretooth. Ben, if you're still in the chat, confirm that or deny that.
He was a wrestler, wasn't he, Charlie? The original guy who played Sabretooth?
Yeah, I think he was. I can't remember who he was, but I think he was a wrestler, or he was like an amateur wrestler, or he done something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, it was in the films. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Tyler. In the films, he was played by Levi Schreiber. In the Wolverine movie.
Liv Schreider, whatever his name is.
Liv Schreiber. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's quality.
Yeah, he's a great he's a great actor, and he was a great character as well. And he, like Wolverine, whenever they'd battle in the comics, I always just love to turn the page and think who's going to win, because I'd love to see a battle scene where Wolverine maybe doesn't get the upper hand and Sabretooth kind of pulls it out of the bag. But hey ho.
Yeah. It's that iconic cover though, Charlie,
Yeah.
of the two, like Sabretooth and Wolverine getting together. I just think it's class. Brilliant.
Yeah. Also, I think I've actually. I haven't. No, I haven't. I thought I did, but no, I haven't. And then we've got Laura Kinney, which is X-23. Now, she was created by Craig Kyle and Christopher Post. She is created from the stolen DNA of Wolverine himself, and this is going on. So we've had covers from 1968, 1963, 1975. Her first appearance was in NYX?
Yeah, it's just next.
NYX.
Oh, it's next. Issue number 3, February 2004. So this is quite recent, yeah. But even in the films, again, when I see her appear in the films, for me, Wolverine kind of looks after her as the way as Charles Xavier looked after him and took him under his wing. So he's kind of grown up a bit now, and he's like, I've got to look after her. I've got to be the father figure to her. I've got to kind of do the best what Charles Xavier did for me. I've got to kind of do for her. So she plays quite an important role, and she can kind of she's created for Wolverine himself, so like she's obviously could be a bit batshit crazy at times.
Have you guys been watching Secret Invasion? I know it's only the second episode and stuff like that. So
I didn't even know it was on.
Yeah, so it's on Disney at the minute, and I'm just wondering, and it just came into my head there, like the second episode that we're talking about, spoilers here, but obviously the Skrulls turned into Super Skrulls because they stole the DNA of various characters. I wonder if at some point during the series we'll see a cameo, or we'll see Laura Kinney actually feature in Secret Invasion.
I didn't even think of that.
It's possible.
Yeah, no, sorry.
It could be a good way of Marvel just shoehorning the X-Men in.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, interesting.
No, it could be. No, I want to watch that back and see now.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
The second episode is absolutely fantastic. It'll blow your mind. Yeah.
And then Ben was saying Sabretooth in Zem and Sabretooth in X-Men Evolution. There we go. So yes, so we have Deadpool. Who can forget Deadpool as well? Created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. The Merc with a Mouth. His first appearance was New Mutants 1998 in December 1990. This cover is obviously timeless. Like, it's such an important cover. For me, these characters, sometimes it's a bit childish. Sometimes it's really enjoyable. I'm looking forward to seeing Deadpool number 3 because obviously Wolverine's back. He's coming back. It's going to be interesting to see how that portrays. But I mean, in the comics, they've had some good run-ins. They've had some really good run-ins, and they've had some good partnerships as well. And they always seem to kind of come to an agreement where they won't harm each other until the job's been done. So, I mean, I think they're great. I'm glad that Deadpool's kind of hopefully crossing over now into X-Men. I think that's got a lot to do with Wolverine. Did Wolverine save Deadpool as well?
And all the more reason for Laura Kinney to show up as well. So
yeah. Interesting. Then we've gone on to Wolverine's enemies. So obviously Magneto, the big man himself, created a game by Stanley and Jack Kirby. Magneto's powers to manipulate metal poses a significant challenge for Wolverine and his adamantium claws, because obviously we've seen it time and time again. When he flexes his muscles, he can literally at any point probably just rip the adamantium out of Wolverine's bones and body and just leave him a pile of steaming blood and human flesh on the floor. But it's never come to that point because I think Magneto is He's gone from being a villain, a supervillain, to a superhero, and then back again. His first appearance was again in the X-Men #1, which I think is why it's so popular, because everyone made their first appearance in that one. And I've put the cover, I've put the image of where he made his first appearance over there, and then you've obviously got a J. Scott Campbell beauty on the right-hand side.
Love that cover.
You can honestly see why X-Men #1 is so much money. There are so many first appearances in there.
100%, yeah. Gibbs, what is that, blue chip book? Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Blue chip.
I mean, could you imagine being alive in 1963 and just thinking, oh yeah, I'll pick that up for probably, it was probably peanuts.
If only you knew. If only you knew. That's the thing.
If only. So yeah, that's Magneto, the big man himself. Then we've got Daken. So obviously I was interested in this. So it's named Akiro. So this is created by Dan Way and Steve Dillon. Now, not a lot of people know this, but this is the son of Wolverine. Now, he was born with a similar mutant abilities. Daken has often served as a rival and antagonist to his father. His first appearance was in Wolverine Origins, issue number 11, April 2007. This comic is awesome. If anyone in the chat hasn't read this yet, I would pick it up. I'm going to cover it a bit later as well, but this is just one of the best written arcs for Wolverine, in my opinion. I really enjoyed it. It kind of goes dark. It tells you where he came from, what he's been through, and it tells you about like his son and how this has happened and stuff like that. It's just honestly such a great comic. Like Dan Way and Steve Dillon, they've worked really well. They worked really well to get this comic like up to a fantastic level of reading, and I really enjoyed it.
So, segue, first appearance I think is number 10, because number 11 is when he doesn't have his disguise on, but I think number 10 is what they say is his true first appearance, just with the disguise on.
Ah, thank you very much for that, mate. I didn't know that.
It's the one where, you know, where it's got the hand and it's
Yeah.
I think that's the first appearance. Yeah.
Ah, did you know anything about him, Tom?
Yeah. I read the Wolverine Origins. One of my favorite kind of runs of Wolverine.
It is.
Yeah, Daken is a great character, but they kind of nerfed him a bit later on. Like he was in the Dark Avengers. He was really cool, and then they made him gender non-binary recently, and I'm not all for that. I think the character was better before they did that. They've kind of, I don't know, he's become a bit of a laughing stock. He has got quite a good, he's a cool character, and he's a really cool kind of evil version of Wolverine. But they kind of nerfed him a little bit, and they made him a little bit too goody two shoes.
Yeah.
I'd prefer the badass version of Daken.
Yeah.
So like, I hope that they can go back to that. Keep him as gender binary. I mean, I don't mind about that, but make him more badass. Don't make him a bit of a wet willy.
Yeah, definitely. Then we come on to key issues. So obviously we've got, these are just some of the key issues that I've picked out, whether it be a cover bar or whether it be an actual story. So Wolverine 8, June 1988. This is the iconic cover art by John Buscema, featuring Wolverine and the Hulk as his Joe Fixit persona. I think this is awesome, this cover. I love
Joe
Fixit
Patch.
Yeah.
Wolverine is Patch.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
right, yeah. I've got this one.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. Then you've got the Incredible Hulk and Wolverine, issue number 1, October 1986. I forgot to change the cover here. Shit. This is the first US reprint of the Incredible Hulk 180 and 181. So this was the first comic that came out, and I think it had 16 pages of Hulk 180 and 16 pages of Hulk 181. That was the first ever US reprint. We've got Wolverine issue number 1, 1982, the first solo Wolverine title. First use of the phrase, "I'm the best there is at what I do," and first cameo appearance of Yukio. I love this cover.
Is Yukio Draken's mum?
Yes. Yes. I love this cover. He's literally like, come here, bub. Let's just get shit crazy. Then we've got Weapon X, issue number 79, which came out in 1988. The debut of Wolverine's Weapon X design in full with helmet. Wolverine 88, December 1994. First battle of Wolverine versus Deadpool. Wolverine Old Man Logan, August 2008, which is the first appearance of Old Man Logan, and also the first appearance of Old Man Hawkeye.
It's issue 600 and something, isn't it? Wolverine 600.
Yeah, the legacy. Yeah. Yeah, Old Man Logan is great. Like the Old Man Logan, the whole thing of that, because obviously they portrayed that from the comics, which were quite graphic. I think they kind of went down a real graphic route, and it was kind of like set in the future and stuff. And then they kind of tried to do that in the movies, which was really, really enjoyable. And you get a double whammy on that. You introduced to Old Man Logan as well, which is interesting. Have you got any of these covers?
I've got the Old Man Logan one.
Yeah, I've got them all. Yeah.
Of course you have. Nice, lovely.
Number 88 is probably one to pick up now before the Deadpool movie.
Yes,
it's already had a little bit of a rise and stuff like that whenever the news was announced. But if you're into that speculation game, you're probably best picking up now.
Yeah, it's a great cover as well.
Yeah,
I do like that. So then I've gone on to some of my favourite covers. Now, obviously, for me, X-Men issue number 11, which came out in August 1992. This is the cover art by Jim Lee. This is just iconic for so many reasons. But for me, I think it stands out in my mind that Wolverine, for me, in this, is the leader of the X-Men. Like the way that they've done this cover, for me, he's the leader of the X-Men now, and that's when the game has changed. I think that's great.
He was a really prominent character in that
was.
X-Men run, because I think it's at X-Men issue 4 when Omega Red joins.
Yeah.
And then I think it's issue 6 where he fights Ghost Rider, which is absolutely incredible. I've got both of them. They're amazing covers, amazing books.
It is. And then I've gone for Wolverine issue number 1, which came out in February 2020. This is the John Tyler Christopher Negative Space variant. This is just awesome.
the banana cover, as it's nicknamed.
Yeah, I mean, this is wicked. Like, I'd love to own this. Wolverine issue number 1, October 2020. The Chip Kid die cut one. I actually have this, and it is.
Excuse me.
It's so good. It's such a good cover, and it's a pretty heavy book as well. But it's really good because it's got the die cut then, and it's got the blood on the back.
Is the die cut cardstock, Charlie?
Yeah,
it's much better quality paper, isn't it?
I'll get it out. Let me show you. Yeah, it's
and the book.
Awesome, yeah. But I mean, look at that. Look,
Yeah, it's so cool.
And then it's got the blood on the back. It's just such an awesome cover. And this was like, it wasn't even exactly expensive. It was quite a decent price. And then we've got Wolverine issue number 1 again, February 2020, the Tyler Kirkham 181 homage cover, which I've managed to get as well. This is,
I think we had that in stock.
yeah, this is a beautiful cover. It really is. And then it's got, it even says there, Tyler Kirkham after her trim off. But there we go. Looks awesome. And then, I've also picked up that one as well. It's one of my favourite covers.
Is that the facsimile?
No, that's real.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah.
Nice, I like that one.
The only thing is, I got this off my dad years ago, and as you can see the massive rip all the way through the comic, the front cover. Can
it's
you see
authentic. It's a claw rip. That's what it was.
Goes there all the way through.
It means it's been loved. That's what comics are about.
Well, my dad used to wrap his comics in cling film and 2 bits of cardboard. That's how he used to keep his comics.
Nice.
And they're in pretty good covers. They're pretty good condition. So they're my favourite covers. And then I've got 3 recommended readings. So obviously we've just touched on it. Yes. Wolverine Origins, the hardcover, which was released in 2006, written by Daniel Way, art by Steve Dillon, and the cover price for this is a mere $19.99. So obviously this is picking up where House of M and Wolverine Origins and Endings left off. Armed with the one thing that could kill him, as well as key clues to his very existence, Logan embarks on the first leg of a journey and bloody quest for vengeance against those who enslaved him. No longer feeling they need to play it quiet, Logan's first strike elicits a condition critical response from the US government. With no other choice, they drop the bomb, and you won't believe who it is. When Logan hits DC, someone's going to be waiting for him. This collects Wolverine Origins 1 to 5.
Have you read this? The character that they drop?
I don't want to say.
Okay, cool. I was just going to say I really liked what they did with him in this series.
I thought it was great, and I wasn't expecting it.
No.
So if no one has read this, I mean, pick it up. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on eBay. Forbidden Planet, I think I've got some. It's £20, and it'd be worth a definite £20. Pick it up. What's that? 2 pints. Pick it up, read it, and let us know what you think. Then we've got Old Man Logan, 2009 hardcover, written by Mark Miller, art by Steve McNiven, cover price of $34.99. This is a chunky book. Mark Millar and Steve McNiven bring us the most important Wolverine story of the 21st century. Nobody knows what happened on the night the heroes fell. All we know is when they disappeared, and evil triumphed and the bad guys have been calling the shots ever since. What happened to Wolverine is the biggest story and mystery of all. For 50 years, no one has heard nor hear from him. And in his place stands an old man called Logan, a man concerned only about his family, a man pushed to the brink by the Hulk gang, a man forced to help an old friend, the blind archer Hawkeye, to drive 3,000 miles to secure his family's safety. Get ready for the ride of your life, Logan. This is all kinds of awesomeness, and to read it in a hardcover must be bloody wicked.
It's such a good story. This is one of the pinnacle moments, I think, in Wolverine's career.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a shame that after this, and they tried to combine all the universes together. They brought Old Man Logan in, and he just kind of flopped, which was really annoying because his story was so good. This Mark Millar story is so good. It's like literally kind of, you know, if you were as a kid and you were writing a fantasy book about a character in the future, that's kind of what this is.
And a lot of people are saying that Twins homage, Frank Miller's Wolvie was brilliant. Pretty sure I've got number 100, but don't think it's at all significant. ABZ is saying he's got a 9.8 of issue 1 limited series. Edvic Jim Lee X-Men was my intro to Wolverine. I think a lot of people I think because he was on the cover art and stuff, people got into that because of Jim Lee. Batman Dixon, Days of Future Past classic story. That one, Charlie. Oh, this one. I assume you're talking about that. And then he said that Days of Future Past X-Men 141 had quite a few homages over the years, notably first cameo of Invincible Noble Causes issue 3B, which just picked up recently. Perfect. See, I love this. I love like all the knowledge that I gained from it as well. Then I've gone for Death of Wolverine 2014, written by Charles Saul, art by Steve McNiven, and 1999. Logan is no stranger to death. He's killed thousands. He's watched teammates, friends, and lovers die. Now stripped of his healing factor, the X-Men and Avenger faces his own date with the Reaper. There's a bounty on his head, a price big enough to put a horde of enemies and assassins on his trail. The race is on to find Wolverine, but who put out the contract? Sabretooth, Viper, or someone even worse? When Logan discovers that the mystery foe who wants him alive, he turns on the offensive. As the hunted become the hunter once more, he's determined to die the way he lived. The Wolverine will go out fighting, collecting. Death of Wolverine, issue number 1 to 4. Have either of you read this?
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it, Tom?
No. I thought it was good. I thought it was a bit of a cash cow, this storyline. But I will say, issues 1 to 4, the J. Scott Campbell covers are stunning, and they all link Wolverine's life together. They are pretty cool.
That's interesting. I mean, I think I must have read like the first issue of a reprint or something of this, and I thought, oh, this is quite interesting, but then never really picked it up, which is why I put it in here, because I think it'd be recommended, because the way that I've done it, you've got the life, you've got the middle part, and then you've got the Death of Wolverine. So I kind of hope you guys in the chat highlighted and see how I did that and how I played it out. But so, have you guys got anything of Wolverine to show?
I have Wolverine stuff. I just didn't bring any, unfortunately. But that's been really interesting. It's really interesting to see some of the key books and stuff like that you've probably got in your collection or you've seen when you're at the LCS and just not picked up for whatever reason. It gives a good insight as to some of the key books that you should be looking for when you're doing your hunting.
Yes, indeed. So talking about hunting and coming first and everything like that, we're already at this part of the show. The killer covers scoreboard. Now, Tom, what's the scores on the doors?
On the scores on the doors, George Doors, bear with. Oh, wait there. End poll.
You can see that I'm literally not even in with a running.
So,
Again.
in last place with 19% is Cheeky Charlie.
It's just no luck for me, is there?
Sorry, mate.
Sorry.
In second place with 38% is myself, which means Andy has run away with it again this week with an awesome 42%.
It was on fire, wasn't it, really? Absolutely on fire. So, yeah, do you know what? I think I'm ruining you all in, and I'm just going to come and just win the next 30 on the way through.
Come up the rear.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen, is it? Let's be honest. But so obviously we can kind of go through the socials. I need to change this because I'm not Geeky Guy Comics _ anymore. I'm back to Geeky Guy Comics, Bish Bash Boss. There we go. After a year, finally got my name back. But you can follow me over on Instagram at Geeky Guy Comics and on Twitter at Geeky Guy Comics.
You can also find me at Instagram on perpetual.comics and on Twitter at perpetual comics, all one word.
You can find me on Instagram under Not Quite Mint, or also my personal training page under Tom Mailing PT.
Get them pecs out. So go on, boy. And then we've got our own one. We've got the Killer Comic Show on Instagram and then Killer Comic Show over on Twitter, where we kind of, I think we've got it locked down now. Like this post is going out every single day, 7 days a week. We are filling up your post and your feed.
Can I just put a request out to everybody that's watching, maybe watching the rewind? If you haven't already followed us on the Killer Comics Instagram page, please go do so. The same on Twitter. And any of the posts that we do put out, feel free to sort of repost them or comment on them, all that good stuff, because it really does help us sort of get the word out there and spread the good Killer Comic news.
And if we are
also gives you a chance to see the covers up in person before they come on the show, and even drop a little bit of a vote on there as well, because we can then count them to this as well. So if you do like Charlie's cover more so on Instagram, he could actually beat me and Andy. So
good luck working out the percentages during the show. I don't know.
Yeah, lads, thanks for that, but I don't think it's my year. It's fine. It's all right. But as I was just about to say, if we are boring you because we're putting out posts every single day, 7 days a week, nothing's going to change. We're still going to do that.
Snooze, you lose.
You snooze, you lose, because we want to give you stuff that you might not miss, that we don't want you to miss. So there we go. 7 days a week, Monday to Sunday. You've got stuff filling up your space on Instagram. Then the Killer Comic Show sneak peek for next week is the 3 comics we've got. I've gone for World Tree issue number 3. Absolutely loving this. Kind of messed up issue number 2. Want to see where that's going to go.
I went for Dust issue number 1 from Scout Comics.
I'm quite excited to read Dust, to be fair. I hope that gets picked. I went for Creed the next round because I'd like to read it because it's written by Latoya Morgan, who's been on the show.
Is your voice breaking, Tom? Are you okay?
Yeah, sorry, it's in my throat.
Okay.
And the Poptimus said, be another blank cover next week. He's got the write up now. I haven't. I just enjoy taking part. It's just getting a bit tedious now. Don't be silly. And Martin Simcoe said, never boring, guys. So, we're at the part of the show where we're going to do Andy's pickups for the next 45 minutes. So just sit back and stay with us. Or is Andy going to throw a trump card and say, no, mate, I've got nothing? I doubt it.
Of course I've got pickups. I don't have that many, but I have a few. Where do I start? So some Micronauts. So I'm a big fan of the Micronauts series. So I picked up issue the King Size Annual 1 and 2.
Oh, nice.
If you haven't delved into the world of Micronauts, I would highly recommend it. It's some good reading, good artwork. And I picked these up from Comic Market on the Whatnots. So got those for cheapest chips. So thanks to Andy for that. This was a pickup from Redsters, who's doing a Whatnot show directly after us. I think it's about 11 o'clock.
He's a night owl. He goes from 11 till 2, I think.
He does well as well. He's got some great books. So some J. Scott Campbell goodness here. This is a New York Comic Con 2019 exclusive. Picked that up from Liam. Picked this up as well. This is Amazing Spider-Man 23.
Yeah, I like that too.
This is a variant edition. And last but certainly not least is Avengers number 1 J. Scott Campbell variant edition.
Nice.
So picked up those 3 from Liam, and they came absolutely fantastically packaged up. One last thing was I delved into the world of trading cards and box breaks through Armageddon, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But I had a punt, and I got this Princess Leia card, which is apparently one of the box specials. I don't know.
Nice.
And then I won this as a part of a giveaway, some holographic goodness. And then one of the pulls that I done was all the cards that started with B. because obviously I was looking for Boba Fett, but unfortunately no Boba Fett came out. But there was a nice BB-8. Yeah, which I was
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
But I think what I learned is I'll stick to comics, guys.
Mhm.
I'm going to stick to comics. I'm not going down this trading card malarkey, especially box breaks. It's not fun.
That's the biggest load of shit I've heard, because you go down more rabbit holes than Alice in Wonderland. So next week he'll have a massive portfolio behind him of all his trading cards that he's got.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Tom, have you got anything?
I've got nothing, mate. No, I'll discuss this with you after the show, actually. But yeah, I've got nothing.
Well, I ain't got nothing either. Do you know what I mean? So we just rely on Andy for this section of the show sometimes. But
You're welcome.
is that what you've got?
That's it.
Can't say except you're welcome.
Jesus, I feel a bit shocked. I'll get over it. It's fine. But it's been another good show, guys. I hope you enjoyed the Wolverine bit. I hope everyone else in the chat enjoyed their Thursday night. We all enjoy spending time with you. Thank you very much for all your engagement over the week with all the posts and Instagram and YouTube stuff that we do. We appreciate you every single week, and I think we say it time and time again. We do the community show for the community, so if you get involved, it ain't really nothing without you. So thank you very much, guys. And there we go. Well done on unboxing the Miles as well, Andy. Yeah, look at that. Finally, he's got it out. Look at that.
Finally, I got it out.
There we go. But yeah, that's another show down, guys. What do we say, Tom?
Stay safe. Stay sexy.
Have a good weekend, people, and enjoy what
See
you're
you.
reading. We'll see you same time next week.
Good night, guys. Have a good weekend.